Good morning, everyone. It's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. As always, thank you so much for subscribing and following me and for all your beautiful input. Um, Please be wary of scammers. Usually the indication is they're on my page. If they're on someone else's page, you're not dealing with somebody that's worth dealing with. So really look into that. If you're going to accept a reading from somebody else on someone else's page, probably a good indication that somebody's trying to make money out of somebody else. So please be careful of that. If you do want a reading with me, I don't have my website up at the moment. However, you can reach me through the AussieGoddess@gmail.com, all one word, the Aussie Goddess, no numbers, all spelt correctly. That is the only place I'm reachable at. For those of you who have come to me for readings and have made contact with me in the past, I want to say thank you, because that's why I'm here, and I do want to really let you know how grateful I am for your support. Memberships, for those of you who've joined for a membership, fabulous. I know that you're enjoying the videos I've put up so far. Many of you have commented. There will be another video going up today. We've nearly finished the major arcana, so more than likely next week we'll be on the minor arcana, and then hopefully we can get up and start doing some lessons. Alrighty, anything else? Oh, if you do want to join, or you do want a membership, or you do want to learn how to read the tarot, look for the join button. It's underneath my picture, as I understand it. Now, if you're trying to join from an iPad or an iPhone or a phone, those things won't show up for you. My understanding is you have to go to the internet or on a web page to do that. Alrighty, we're going to use the the Celestial Tarot for your reading today. And then we will be doing the Virgo reading, and then I'll get a video up for the members. So that's my plan this morning, in amongst getting a few TikToks done. Alrighty, let's see where we're going with this reading this morning. Okay, very nice. We're starting off with the Ace of Swords. Now, many of you, if you've followed me for a long time, know that this is my favourite tarot card. I've never heard anybody else say they love it as much as I do. It means a lot to me for my own personal journey. The Ace of Swords is about having clarity, standing in your truth, understanding your direction, knowing who you are and what you want to achieve. It denotes the beginning of a new journey. So when the aces come round, they show the beginning, because like the major arcana runs in a cycle, the minor arcanas, right, they go in a circle as well. So, you know, if you look at the way that the numbers go, that's how you can work it out. So, you know, having a look from the ace right through to the king. So when we see the ace, we know there's a new beginning about to take place. There is an ending coming. Now, the Ten of Swords is very much an ending to something negative. It can be the end, it can be a betrayal. It can end with a betrayal. But really the 10 is the end of the numbers before we reach the royalty cards. So the 10 is the end of a cycle. Usually because the swords are there, it means the end of something negative. Could be a way of doing things, a way of thinking, or just maybe you've finished the cycle by learning all the lessons. You may have been stuck in the Nine of Swords energy for a while. We're moving to the 10, which is good news for any of us who feel stuck at the moment. All right, so I have to say to you, we have the Seven of Swords here, which means we actually have a lot of swords starting off the reading. So that in itself is significant. So when the swords are coming around like that, it means this is a time of more than likely a lot of thinking, a lot of speaking. Maybe you're sort of hitting up against people, having negative experiences, arguing. The Seven of Swords can mean in itself a betrayal, stealing, lying, all of those sort of things. For me, the Seven of Swords is about trying to get away with something. So have you come to a conclusion that somebody you're dealing with has been trying to get past something with you, maybe not being truthful with you, maybe sort of talking the talk, as I always say. I love those people that can just talk all the time but never get anything done. So this may be the end of a relationship with somebody like that. If it's relating to you, it might mean that you've had negative thinking or negative experiences and it's time to start a new path. And that's really good, because whatever this is, when you get the ace, You know, you've seen things so much more clearly. Maybe you've understood how to stop overthinking. You know, it really, when people say, oh, you can't do that, I think, oh my goodness, you can do that. It is absolutely achievable. But like I always say, you've got to want to do something. You've got to put in the time and energy to heal that particular aspect of yourself. A lot of people don't realize that overthinking comes from childhood trauma. There is something, it's a protection mechanism like procrastination. They are things we do to keep ourselves safe. Learning to overcome them, you have to put it into practice. You know, I remember starting with the whole delete button. Somebody said, imagine your mind is like that computer that we talk about your mind being. And when you start thinking too much, just delete. Just say delete. And just your brain just gets rid of it. And you might have to do that many times, but it works. I can completely clean my mind now. And I do that sometimes when I'm having trouble sleeping at night because of my sort of night anxiety. I start to overthink. So I can do that at night time and clear my mind completely. So it could be the end of that with that much energy around. But I do have the Four of Pentacles coming through here. We do have the Princess of Wands and the Seven of Cups. There is some sort of illusion. There is some sort of illusion that you are hanging on to about yourself. Now, because there's so much swords there, maybe it is the overthinking. That would be a really good example of what we've been talking about. But whatever this is here, it's negative to you. So it could be the way you speak. It could be the way you express yourself. It could be, I've had people say that to me. I'm not negative. And then in the next line, they say something negative. And I'm like, perhaps you don't realize what you're saying is negative. You need to be the observer. You need to live in the moment, stay grounded, and watch what you're saying. Because some people think for some unknown reason that they're being realistic, but they're not. They're being negative. So maybe it's negative thinking. Maybe it's you have a bad opinion of yourself. Maybe for some unknown reason, you know, you're down on yourself all the time. Maybe you just give yourself a really hard time. Maybe you have perfectionism. Maybe, you know, there's something here that you are doing to yourself. I feel now, looking at the rest of those cards, I feel this is about you, and I feel like it's time to look at it, time to change, time to understand. This idea is, you know, that I hear from people that I can't change, that's who I am, is a load of hooey. We know that you can change brain chemistries. We know that you can form new synapses and new ways of thinking. So it's never too late. Absolutely not. If it was, you wouldn't see people who are 90 going out and taking parachute jumps. We all have the ability to change what we do. And if you think you can't, then you can't. Somebody said that. If you think you can, you can. So let's get on with this reading. All right, have the Queen of Swords. So another sword coming through with the Prince of Swords. So a lot of swords energy here. The Eight of Cups, something you're doing here in regard to something here. King of Wands at the end. Something you're doing, you are trying to understand, but I don't think you've got that sort of moment yet where you can see how it's affecting you. I guess, you know, it's sort of like, almost like it feels like you're missing the point a little bit. That's the way the energy feels. So, you know, sometimes you can say or read something and not quite understand it or not quite get it. And I feel like I'm talking to people who may have seen something or maybe understanding something, but haven't quite understood how to put it right. And I say to people, this is the time for learning how to ground yourself, mindfulness, even meditation, where you can actually sit with yourself for a while, because spirit will bring the messages through for you. And that's the way it works. So if you allow yourself that bit of quiet time, spirit will come through. Now, for some of you, if you do lucid dreaming, if you do have those dreams, sometimes the spirits bring the messages through for you then on what to heal about yourself. But to me, this energy with all these swords, it's like you are betraying yourself. you may be self-sabotaging, you may be just finding that you are constantly giving yourself a hard time over things. And I hear people do it. I hear people do it all the time. And sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. And I do have people who get a little defensive because they've always done it that way. We all have things that we need to heal. And I always talk about my self-righteousness because it was the one thing that came last in the healing sessions around what I needed to heal. Not that I have finished, but last in the journey, I guess. How do you say it? In the shadow side. So whilst I'm still working on other things, that was the big epiphany for me because I changed. It was life-changing for me, understanding what I was doing, and that self-righteous energy. So when we're self-righteous, we believe that our ideas and our way of doing things are the only way or the best way. So I'm trying to think of an example, but my favorite one is always I hated seeing people litter, throw cigarettes out of the car and treat the environment in a bad way. And then I learned, and I guess control comes out of this too, because what you're trying to do is control how other people do things, which is of course impossible for us too. Those things are exhausting. You know, if you're trying to control other people, if you're going to try and control the environment, if you're going to try and control people doing the wrong thing, you are going to be absolutely exhausted because at the end of the day, you just can't do it. So realizing those things is a big Ten of Swords moment. It's like, I can't live like that anymore. I need to see things differently. So I need to leave the responsibility with other people. I can only be responsible for myself. And I guess you have a responsibility if you're raising children or to challenge people. So it's okay to challenge people, but you can't fix them. So if you say to somebody, hey, you just dropped something on the ground, and they say, you know, bad luck, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can pick it up after them, but then you're trying to fix other people, which doesn't work either. So, all right, let's get on with this. All right, so we have the Three of Wands coming through, the Ace of Pentacles right in the middle of the reading, which is absolutely beautiful with the Two of Cups. Is this a relationship for some people? Is it trying to control the outcome of a relationship? Oh, we do have the Sun coming through here. You know, sometimes, and the Victory card, Six of Wands. And the Six of Swords, beautiful, beautiful energy. Wow, okay. Realizing whatever it is for you is going to be life-changing. I just thought of something then because I thought, you know, people do it with other people. You know, they meet someone and the person they meet is, you know, this type of personality and this type of person. And they get, you know, a few months, a year into the relationship, and the person's still doing the same thing, but then they start to say, but they need to change. They're in a relationship now. Yep, sure. There are things that they might need to change, but you need to get them up front when you first meet them. If they're doing it in the very beginning and then you expect them to change 6 months in, you're probably having a hard time trying to get that to happen. So if you've got a person, for example, who doesn't like going out, they like being at home, and you like going out, and that's evident in the beginning of the relationship, it's highly unlikely that person's going to, well, they may change, but they're not going to change if you nag and harp and get them to change on your grounds or your conditions. That is control. So I think that the only reason I say this is because I've got a couple of people very close to me who've been through this. So, for example, person I know had lots of friends, very, very popular sort of person, which was evident in the beginning of the relationship because the other person, their partner, said to me, we are always out doing things. They are fabulous. They have lots of friends. We're always out on weekends. We party, we go barbecuing, and they loved it. They married that person, and the next thing they're saying, oh, I don't like it that they've got so many friends. So this person became so volatile about that and so jealous of all the friendships they had, they started to whittle away at that person until they had no friends left because nobody wanted to deal with the partner. And what have you got then? You've got somebody who's very unhappy in a relationship where they've been used to socializing with everybody. They may have been socializing with everybody with that person. So it's not like they were leaving that person behind to do it. So that's a sort of example of control. You can get someone to the point by nagging and yelling and arguing, but at the end of the day, if it's not what they're going to do, they're going to become very unhappy in that relationship. And I feel like, even though that's only one example, I feel like this is what's happening here. And you could be on the receiving end of this. You could be the one that's being manipulated or coerced into being a different person. And so this can happen in friendships. This can happen in, at work, for example, where people are trying to get you to do something differently that you've always done the way you have very successfully. People, look, they need control. The thing is, control comes from a place of low self-esteem and low confidence. If a person needs to be in control all the time, it's because they need to have that control in their world to feel safe. So everybody comes from that shadow. Everybody comes from that side of themselves that they need to see differently. All right, let's have a look at what's going on here. So I have a brand new beginning with the Ace of Swords. So maybe you're just seeing this is how this person is, or maybe you're seeing that you need to relook at something you're doing. But whatever it is, you are putting an end to it. I do feel with the Seven of Swords, for some people, it may be about self-sabotage. We all do that too, and it's something we have to learn. Well, not all of us. If you're highly confident and highly self-assured, you're probably not likely to do that. But if you think you're going to fail and you've got what we call imposter syndrome, you probably will pull the plug before you get pushed. I don't know why, but something you're letting go of here. I do think that you look like you're doing some sort of work around this, because you do have the Eight of Wands, which sort of makes me feel that perhaps you're talking to somebody about it. But the Seven of Cups here tells me that the way you see things, or the way you're seeing things, is not real, but perhaps you're believing it's the way things are, or the way that you are. Can always change. All right. Let's have a look. I love those deep readings because I go away and really think about, oh, we have the Dragon's Jewel coming through. Inner conflict, morality and conscious choice. There you go. Card 23. The Dragon's Jewel takes place at the proverbial fork in the road. It's both ally and challenger at once, as it represents the tension of opposites. Even though the truth is that we live in unity, we experience the duality of faith and doubt, love and fear, right and wrong, black and white. This aspect of your current experience asks you to accept that although you may be going in one way, another may call you to change direction. Don't you love it? Spirit is just so amazing. Now is the time to inquire whether it's your ego or your soul leading you. There are always choices in life. Decision making also solves inner conflict. If you're torn between the two dragons, the one that you choose to feed will be the one that wins. Which is it? So there is a lot of energy here around understanding that it's okay to take a new direction. If you've been sitting in one direction, like for example, if you're in a relationship where somebody's trying to control everything that you do, then maybe it's time to have a look at that relationship and see if you can make changes. I think that's a very deep reading. Thanks, everyone.